So what do you think the second step of installing Kali from the ISO file is? That's right, installation. The ISO file for Kali has been downloaded and it's in the Downloads folder. So now I'm going to open VirtualBox. Click the New button and give your machine a name. You can choose the folder for VM. Now, it's better to collect VMs in the same location, in my opinion. That way I stay organized, and I certainly recommend you do that as well. And I'm okay with the default. Type is Linux. Okay. Now, we know that Kali is a Debian-based Linux distro, and we downloaded the 64-bit version, so choose Linux, then the 64-bit version of the latest Debian. Now I can click Continue to move on. RAM is a 1 gigabyte by default. Now, I do want to make RAM 3 gigabytes here. And we'll want to create a virtual hard disk now, so click Create. Here you can change the hard disk file type. The VDI file format is used when you create a new virtual machine with a new disk. VirtualBox also supports VMDK file formats, and that's used by many other virtualization products, such as VMware and VHD file formats that are used by Microsoft. We can also select the native file format of VirtualBox, VDI, and that's the one that I'll be using for this installation. So this page is for the type of hard disk. Now, dynamically allocated disks are faster to create, and they'll also grow to larger sizes. Fixed-size disks may be faster to use, but that way they won't grow any larger once they start filling up. So let's select the dynamically allocated option and click Continue. So here I want to make the size of a virtual disk 20 gigabytes. Okay, click Continue and the Start button. So here we should add the ISO file. So just click the Add button and select the ISO file that is, well, should be in the Download folder. Click Choose and Start. VM boots for the very first time. In the boot menu, choose one of the install or graphical install options. I'll show you what the graphical install looks like now. As you see, it's a typical operating system installation. We need to configure the OS now. So I'll select the language, location, and keyboard configuration. And now network configuration has been completed successfully. So I'll set the host name to Kali, and let's give it a domain name. I'll just choose the same name and continue. I'll set the username and password for the new user. Because Kali will not use a root account by default when it's started. Don't need any partitions. We're only installing Kali Lite as a virtual machine, so it can use the entire disk reserved for itself. Continue. Keep going with the default options for disk partitioning. Yes, write the changes to disks. Now the system is being installed. And just like before, it may take several minutes. So here Kali asks for the HTTP proxy information, but we're not going to need it now, so we can just leave it blank and continue. And in this section, you can choose the desktop environment that you want to use. Kali is no longer offering separate images for every desktop environment. There's just a single image for all of them, and it can be chosen during installation. So I will continue with the default option, XFCE. It's asking to install the grep bootloader to the master boot record. Now, this is more meaningful when you install an operating system as a second one on the host. We're just installing a virtual machine, so it's the only operating system for it. So, yes, install the grub bootloader to the master boot record. We have only one partition to install, grub, so I select that and continue. And installation is complete. So, it's time to boot into our new system. Continue. We are finally at the login screen. Log in with username and password that you've set. Welcome to 64-bit Kali installed by the ISO file. So I want to turn it off for now. Now let's go to the folder that we chose for installation. And here is the Kali VDI file.